note for everybody's benefit that my technology credibility might be lacking a little bit. If you Google, you might find a panel on smartphones in which I said the BlackBerry smartphone was going to dominate Apple. And so you may or may not want to take my advice as a futurist. But one thing I do know is that AI, just in the last 2 years, has exponentially grown and integrated into almost every facet of technology. It's not something that we can just sort of ignore, and it's something that you're probably using and not knowing that you're using because so many technology companies are integrating it into all kinds of things from search to connections to algorithms that anticipate your needs in terms of advertising or in terms of connections. And so AI is something that is growing exponentially every day and something that I encourage you to become more familiar with and more and acquaint yourself with how to use it. This particular image that I'm using in this slide deck tonight was created by AI. I said, what would be a good graphical representation of AI for an audience? And AI created this picture for you tonight. So I'm not going to give a deep dive into AI use. So in terms of practical use, this is not going to be a very helpful time. I want sort of the philosophical approaches of blessings or warnings in the use of AI. And I would note that unlike my colleagues that spoke previously, the church has yet to talk about an official position around around AI or how to use it. So I'm not speaking for this God or the Board of Bishops, but just want to give you some practical advice that I have. So first, when it comes to blessings, I just want to encourage you that AI can be useful. And I should have had AI help me with this slide too, because it doesn't look anywhere near as pretty. But there's a few ways I want to point out that AI can really bless you in your work. One is with administrative help. A lot of times, if you're pastoring in a smaller context, or maybe you're in a bigger context, I don't know any pastor that I've ever met that has an abundance of time. And so this is a way that AI can really help. Things like calendar, managing your calendar, helping with scheduling, helping you identify ways to better manage your time. It can set up reminders to do different things from praying for people to different kind of follow-up things that you need. You can use AI to transcribe. You can use AI to give you a task list based on the minutes of previous meetings or based on transcripts of previous meetings. AI is also very excellent at organizing and analyzing data sets. That's really what prompted the creation of AI. And so things like stats, if you want to track, hey, what has our church been doing in terms of baptisms, in terms of attendance, and what does that mean in terms of our finances? There are ways you can utilize AI to help you create trend analysis, to help you understand different things that statistics might be able to tell you. So, as a for instance, in one particular church that that I stepped into, it took 100 new people coming to the church for every one baptism, right? And so we thought, wow, that's a lot. That's not a met ratio that's going to work well. We don't have that many people coming in, so we had to address those. Those are the kinds of things that AI can quickly identify. Those kind of ratios. It can query the data and it can help you identify certain things you might want to look at. AI is also very helpful in terms of communication. Maybe you're a good writer, maybe you aren't, maybe you're thinking about different types of emails that are common to you or different types of communication. And AI is great at drafting potential emails. It's great at drafting, even creating a schedule for posting things like social media content, and suggesting ways that you can provide useful information to people. It's great at helping you with newsletters and that sort of thing. I will give you some caveats to this in the warning section, but right now it can be super helpful in drafting a communication. It can also help you with your study. All the teachers immediately gave a breath of, oh no. So it can help you know where to look for topics, for good information, what to consider, who are experts in the field that you're researching. These are things that AI can help point, resources you might not have thought about. It can help enhance your research. It can help you aggregate resources. What it cannot do is study for you. And so that goes over to the warning part. But it can help assist you in efforts of study. So a few warnings that I would want you to consider. First and foremost, AI is a soulless entity, right? So AI has been structured in such a way that it mimics human conversation and empathy. But it's important to know that while AI can mimic connection, it can't replace it. While AI can mimic a soulful response, it cannot actually be soulful in its response. It can't ever fully understand human connection because it doesn't have a soul. It also has very fluid morality. So it seems weird to talk about machines and morality, but we need to talk about machines and morality. And one of AI's job is to please the person that it's responding to. And that causes its answers to have fluid morality, just as it would cause a person to have fluid morality if their sole goal was to please the person they're talking to. So another warning is that AI brings up security and privacy concerns. AIs are designed to constantly learn. So if you upload information to an AI that is private or confidential in nature, AI and the rest of the world now is going to be able to learn from that information. So it's important to be careful as a pastor what information you put up into AI. So, for instance, you might want help to draft an email response to somebody, but you probably don't want that person's email address, that person's name, particular private information that might reveal their identity in the email they sent to you. You probably don't want to upload that kind of stuff into AI. You might want to edit that email before you upload it and ask for help in crafting a response. Now, AI can help you craft a response, but one of the warnings I would say is AI is not human and AI is not you. And so that response may or may not reflect you. And AI also has a very specific way of communicating, which is very structured and very flowery. And people can tell when AI has authored that for you in its use of language. And so that can actually undermine your credibility if you're not careful, and using it as a draft, not as the end result. You need to actually do some work in there too. So I also want to just say AI is not always truthful. So there have been many studies that show this, but AIs learn from humans. One thing that's true about humans is humans don't always tell the truth. And as it turns out, AI doesn't always tell the truth. I've tested this myself a couple of times and had AI make up authors and books for citations that do not exist in order to please me with the end product. And so this is something you need to be aware of. AI is also only as good as the information that's being fed to it, and not everything being fed to it is truthful either. And so it's important not to think of AI as a infallible resource. It is very fallible, and it will also not always be truthful. It's also important to note that AI has biases. They're programmed into AI. People, everybody, every human being has biases. And these biases transfer from the programmers into the algorithms that run AI. Further, because AI is designed to please you, it will actually develop further biases that mimic what it thinks that you want to hear. And so you have to recognize that AI is not a biased-free, truthful sort of system. It's going to communicate those biases, and therefore it requires critical thought when you're interpreting data that you're receiving from AI. AI also introduces or can create ethical concerns. Um, Things like sermon prep has all kinds of ethical considerations when you are considering the use of AI in sermon prep. Again, you might ask AI for illustrations. It might make you a great illustration, and come to find out that is not truthful and it can harm people. Also, AI is not above plagiarizing. And you can also end up inadvertently plagiarizing because you thought this was something AI made up when instead it was something it lifted from somebody else. And so communicating it as your idea can create issues of intellectual honesty and credibility with your congregation. I just would also note, if you use it, you should let people know that. On the flip side of that, that can create people having concerns with you about the integrity, especially when it comes to the creation of sermons. So, one of the things I did in preparation for this conversation is to ask AI what it thought about these kinds of issues. And it gave me a great and long list of things pastors should consider. Rather than reading those to you, I really want to encourage you to ask AI those same questions and see what it tells you. But in one instance related to a question I asked, which was concerning credibility, especially as relates to pastors creating sermons using AI, I asked it, how does what would you say to the concern that seems to bypass the role of the Holy Spirit in the creation of a sermon? And I'm just going to read you what AI said. So here's what it said. First, it's essential to recognize and validate the concern that using AI to write sermons might seem to bypass the role of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit's guidance is central to the preparation and delivery of sermons, and this spiritual aspect should never be diminished. AI is a tool, not a replacement for the work of the Holy Spirit. AI should be viewed as a tool that can assist in the process, not replace the divine inspiration and the personal reflection that are crucial to sermon preparation. When preparing a sermon, you should use spiritual discernment, prayerful consideration. Approach the use of AI with prayer and discernment, seeking God's guidance into how to best integrate technology into ministry. You should consider ethics. Regularly reflect on the ethical implications of AI use, considering how it aligns with Christian values and the mission of the church. Maintain a spiritual core, including personal reflection. The core message and spiritual guidance of a sermon should always come from the pastor's personal reflection and prayer. AI can provide information, but the interpretation and spiritual insight must come from the pastor. The Holy Spirit's role is to emphasize, the Holy Spirit's role emphasized that the Holy Spirit can work through various means, including technology, to inspire and guide. The key is to remain open to the Spirit's leading through the process. There are ethical and responsible uses. Use discernment. Use AI responsibly with discernment, ensuring that it supports rather than supplants spiritual and pastoral aspects of sermon preparation. Be transparent with the congregation about the use of AI, fostering trust and understanding. And then it told me to encourage pastors to find a balance where AI serves as a helpful assistant, but the heart and soul of the sermon remain rooted in their personal spiritual journey and the Holy Spirit's inspiration. This approach ensures that technology enhances rather than detracts from the sacred task of preaching. By addressing these concerns thoughtfully, pastors can integrate AI in a way that respects and upholds the spiritual integrity of their ministry. So what I just read to you was AI's response to that question. And if you read that, you think, wow, this is really good. There's a lot of great salient points that are well articulated here. I think this shows that AI can be helpful, but it also shows the biases because it knew what I was looking for and it crafted a response for that. I do think that its advice is very, very helpful in this respect. AI is a tool, not a replacement. Not a replacement for the Holy Spirit, not a replacement for you. God called you to pastor, and that's not something you can abdicate to AI or to anyone else. It is something you can get help in doing. It is something you can occasionally delegate, but do so with integrity and discernment and follow the leading of the Holy Spirit as you engage with technology.
Thanks be to God. Michael, you let us know that artificial intelligence might have a soul. No,